sits over there, and I'm sure you all know him. I was involved 15 years ago in organizing a beetle symposium in honor of John Lawrence when he turned 65 and retired from, I won't say active service because he still has been active in beetle systematics, but he retired from CSRO. And now, 15 years later, we are about to honor John's 80th birthday, but I hope not a further retirement in beetle systematics for a long time. John, to me, is the new Roy Prosen. I think he has stepped into the footsteps of Roy Prosen and has become the father of beetle systematics. So that's what we're here for today. And I won't eat any further into your time.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks to Adam and Rolf for inviting me in the last minute to do something. And, well, my slide's not up there. I don't know what happened to them, but that's cool because they'll come up eventually.
No.
But I tend not to, I never read talks, okay? I'm very much an off-cut person. Yeah, that's it. But I thought that because it's a special occasion, and you know, a lot of us in this room owe our careers to John, I thought maybe I'd scribble some sort of notes here. I took poetic license of writing things here that probably won't make much sense. So if maybe whatever they're out there, John, you know, if you have any questions, I'll talk to you over some wine. Anyway, so it's an honor for me to give this, of course, because I was involved with a plenary talk for John's retirement in North America. I think because Adam wasn't able to make it because I think he was on his way here or something. But we're also like family. And in New Zealand we call this whānau. Okay, this is a Maori word for family. So we're all sort of family. I'll read this for a couple of minutes and just divulge. Okay, so before I had ever met John in 1988 or 89, at my first national EASA conference, the Entomological Society of America in Las Vegas, I was introduced to one of John's buddies, students, morphologist Tom Lovick. Tom was one of a few of John's Harvard loyalists, which also included Al Newton and Margaret Thayer, among others. Tom's meeting with me was notable because he was the only person that was introduced to me by Tommy Allen, my advisor, who actually would talk to me. So Tom Lovick was like the only person who would talk to this young idiot. And so, but the experience was noteworthy because he talked a lot about functional morphology, drinking highballs, you know, and getting drunk. And he wore this green leprechaun jacket, which I can still remember, you know, vividly. And I wasn't really drunk at that point. But anyway, most notably, he also used words, and he was a very articulate man. And he referred to Al Newton in particular, that we stand on the shoulders of men like Al. Standing on the shoulders. Well, this standing on the shoulders, of anyone is a heavy and ponderous concept, especially with regard to people like John, who the community recognizes with esteem and academic fanfare. So John has been a part of my scientific life since 1986, since I began studying beetles almost 30 years ago. I wrote him during my master's thesis on faunistics of fungus-feeding beetles, and John replied to me and told me to get in contact with Quentin Wheeler, which I did, and then Carl Stefan, who is a amateur coleopterist, which I also corresponded with and became close friends with. All these people, Al, Margaret, John, or whatever, Adam, I regard these people as my friends and mentors, okay? They are, whether they're young people too, like Ainsley and Hermes and whoever, Sam Brown, these are my mentors too because they teach me. These are people who challenge the community, who teach us, okay, and try to make us to do the best. So what about viewing John as a mentor? Well, I tend not to put much credence on social protocol and class distinctions, as you know, but mentor is a good and apropos moniker for John and other individuals. But consider this. I was visited by a young a young newly graduated coleopterist about a year ago, a mentor of mine, who referred to us as heroes. And I didn't know. This was quite weird to me. And I'd never been called a hero before, and I really felt uncomfortable about this, and never visualized myself as one. Although I do see all kinds of bravery. You know, people who play sports, it's noble. Publicly read a poem, you know, write a book on Australian beetles, things like this. But hero. Being a hero is an interesting and concept, but I don't think it's a shameful thing in the words of this colleague of mine. And so maybe it's okay, you know. I don't really consider myself a hero. My wife certainly doesn't. But anyway, okay, so heroes, mentors, shoulders to stand upon. These are conflictive to me, perhaps because of personal pride or modesty. And really, systematists tend to be hard-working individualists, focused on getting the data correct or near perfect, and praise is very, very secondary and ancillary to our goals. Who needs honor, of course, when we got millions of species of beetles to describe? I recently finished a biography on American author J.D. Salinger, and Salinger was a prolific short story form writer at the head of his career. But after Catcher in the Rye came out, and a few pieces in the New Yorker, he became popular. He shied from limelight. He hated praise, critics of all sorts. And I'm sure he spurned hero worship with full and complete contempt, at least with regard to himself. Salinger became a celebrity recluse, but kept on writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. Creating was his personal goal. And what John does, I think, is similar. It's brave fodder for the scientific community. Well, I spent some time a few months ago with a good friend of mine in London, a European hemipterist that we know very closely. And I don't know, he's quite of a cynical guy, but a mentor of mine. And he views that descriptive molecular biology has now entered a phase of selfishness, money-making, and that fame is a main motivator. Now, I don't know if this is true, because I have lots of friends who are, well, the young lad who gave a talk today, the plenary section. People I know are in this business. I don't consider them selfish. I don't consider them fame as their motivator. But maybe he's true with some people. I don't know. He could be correct. But what I do know is that we grassroots systematists may have it lucky in some ways, as we are seldom in the starlight and do not have to deal with too many distractions of celebrityism or big scientism, and we get on with our work. Because the work needs to be done and completed with obsessive, time-consuming, narrowed goal to describe the richness of nature's organisms to the best of our descriptive abilities in historical context with bibliographical thoroughness and accurate rendering. We don't want to be wrong in our assessments. I mean, it's okay to be testable. We don't want really to be wrong, though. We want to be thorough. And we welcome others to provide their better scientific solutions. So we want respect for this work and in this sort of form of knowledge institution. So, well, John is a mentor, teacher, and above all, continues to be a leader in the activity of the systematization of Coleoptera. He accomplishes his goals, and we, and future generations, Sam, are the lucky recipients. We can all speak of him and his work in kind, sincere, and modest praise. And now, for some slides. Do I have time?
Yeah, well, not really, but...
Well, okay, I'll be quick. I'm just going to run through a bunch of slides, and I sort of put this together, but these are some of what John has done. And I think, since many of us are coleopterists, and some of you may not be, just have a look. I'm just going to run through these papers. John, of course, was helped significantly in the Handbook of Zoology volumes, Australian beetles. You know, he's continuing this project. He was always interested in providing references and classifications of some sort. This is an old card from the Harvard days, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
Yep. He put this together for people, I guess for Tom Lovick and Al and Margaret and co. This has been referred to continuously, John, as the best treatise of larval morphology. The introductory chapter in part to the larval key in Stairs volume. So this is a bit more reference stuff. John's contributed immensely to glossaries, trying to help homologize characters, especially with in the wings, for example, with Yarmila, Cucoloptera. Then his taxonomic contributions continue to date, with many new taxa being described at rapid fire and new families. Some of the primary electronic resources John had put together back in 1999 was the first one. Yeah. Teaching, John has been involved with workshops. I went to the first one ever in Canada. I think that was like in the 90s or something. I don't know, 80s. And he has done several others. Adam got us involved in one in Beijing that was an experience to behold. And luckily, and so Armes and I taught one in Prague, and this is basically a flow-on from John's lectures that he put together. And Adam, you had one recently that I didn't even know about, but good on you. So this is part of the generation, and so the work continues in John and Rachel's home up in Gympie. He's constantly thinking about beetles as he's taking walks, and the dogs and the cats. And John, I just threw this in here because Peter Schwacke had this at the workshop. He wants you to tell us what this is. He swears it's a trogocidid or a claroid of some sort. This is from Madagascar. I know, it's pretty weird. He calls this the punk larva. And then lastly, here's a couple of people wishing you happy birthday. So happy birthday, John.
Thank you, Rich. We're unfortunately running a bit late, so it's on to me. Right.